Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sleepover. I'm your host, Charlie, and tonight we are joined by Mia Calderwood. Mia and I went to high school together. Well, not together, but we knew each other in high school, and now she is a really cool owner of a really cool studio called Design DNA, and her photography work is amazing. Every time I look at it, it's like the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then she also is the host of a podcast called Design Minded, which I just listened to the first episode. And congratulations for starting a podcast. I'm not.
Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Technology, it's so fun, but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's always scary to like start a new podcast or anything along those lines because you're like, how much of an idiot am I going to sound like?
It happens. I mean, I sound like an idiot every day of my life, so that's not so out of the ordinary for me.
That's why we've always got along.
So how are you doing? How was your day?
I had an interesting day, actually.
Tell me about it.
I decided to get feisty on the interwebs.
Ooh, I love this.
On the interwebs today. Yeah. So photographers, we hear a lot of people like, I'm looking for someone who doesn't cost an arm and a leg, this and that. Like we've heard it all, right? Yep. And I have zero problem with someone having like a budget. And like needing to stick to a budget and all of that. That's 100% okay. But in a local group where I'm at, a photographer, not a consumer, a photographer advertised themselves as the sheen of photographers.
No.
And that they were going to be half the price and the same ish quality.
Oh my gosh.
And I saw red.
I want to know more.
I was not once, keep in mind, not once in her post did she say, I am a new photographer. I'm a budget friendly photographer. I'm looking to build clientele. Like not once was that said. It like she legitimately advertised herself as the sheen of photographers.
Oof.
So
please tell me what you said.
So I wrote in the comments, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I also don't feel bad.
Do not feel bad.
I said, translation. I'm cheap and not a good quality, so the pictures will do its job and give you an image, but they won't be images you will fully love and want forever, like a professional photographer who charges for their work and experience.
Good job. Clap, clap, clap.
So I made some people mad because they're like, how could you be mean to a new photographer? We've all been there. I'm like, she didn't say that. Like, that's not what she said.
She said she was cheap. Sheen isn't new. Sheen is older.
Like, I wasn't being mean to someone who was like, hi, I'm just starting off in the journey. Like,
yeah,
props, good, awesome, live your dream. Like, I want more people to do that kind of stuff. That's not what she said. She literally bashed on photographers in what she said. So
yes, I am the sort of I don't know if it's like my sense of justice or what, but I'm the sort of friend that if you have a small business, like I'm not going to ask you for a deal. I think that is insult. And so I'm like, yes, please let me give you money for what you do best. I wouldn't have it any other way. So every time I see a post like that, I cringe. So I'm glad that you said something.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard it all. Like we've heard, I don't even think my family, like honestly, fully like supports. Like every single time I'm around my family, they're like, I wouldn't pay that much. And I'm like, great, don't.
Yeah, I'm not your photographer.
You're not my clientele. I'm not advertising to you.
Yeah.
So like, it's okay to have a budget and to know like what you would pay for. I just found it like so odd that a fellow quote unquote photographer, like that's the hill you wanted to stand on today.
Well, I listened to your first episode this morning. Great job. I
Thank
love
you.
it. And one of the things you talked about is apprenticeships and how they're still useful. And
Yeah.
then your guest talked about how some people she's a tattoo artist, and how some people have like charge you for being an apprentice. And I think that is so backwards. I think that you should be paying your apprentices. Like, they
Yeah.
are providing you a service. You should be paying them. Like, I get that everybody has ends they need to meet and things like that. But I my experience with that is that I am a birth worker and a doula, and I it's not at the forefront of what I do in my everyday anymore. But for a long time, it was like my everyday. And that is something that works its way into birth work, which I just think is um, upside down, especially because like birth work is like a feminine energy, and we need to
Oh
have
yeah.
feminine energy in that space. And feminine energy gives, feminine energy shares, feminine energy does all this. Male energy is, this is mine, I have this, and you must like have only certain people can have access to this. Like, feminine energy is the opposite of that. And so I'm like, get your male energy out of birth work, and I will be on that soapbox till I die.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I when I started like talking to Laura, so we worked in the same building for a little while. My last studio that I had, I rented a room to her. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where we got to talking. And I remember like I'm covered in tattoos and stuff. And so I've heard from a lot of tattoo artists about tattooing, about scratchers, about, I've heard it all from them. And she was one of the first like self-taught tattoo artists that I was like, what do you mean you're self-taught? You didn't do an apprenticeship? Like it took me a while to like wrap my head around it. But because of talking to her, I really started like learning more about it. And I mean, we're not talking just like a couple $100. Like they charge tattoo artists like 5,000 plus
Oh my gosh. I'm not about it. I
to
mean,
work done for free. Like,
I no, that's the opposite of what should be happening. You should be paying them because they are doing something for you. I mean, they're not like, it's the same concept of like, you don't pay for the hour that you're getting the musician. You pay for their time that they practice the songs that you want them to hear. You pay for their 10 years of experience in the field. It's like the same concept. Like, you don't need to be paying this starting out tattoo artist like the same
yeah.
thing that you would be paying somebody who's been doing it for 10 years, but you need to be paying them like something for the work that they're doing. It's not okay to work for free. I think that is called something else.
Yeah. What an indentured servant. Like,
Yeah, right.
and it's still like super, super prevalent in the tattoo industry. There's actually a whole bunch of TikTok drama about it right now with an apprentice out there. So if anyone's on tattoo TikTok, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a whole lot of drama. I just had an apprentice that within a few months I graduated her to an associate. And I was really upfront. I was like, look, I can't afford to pay you a ton hourly,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to have you work for free.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're also getting, not only am I going to pay you a little bit like money wise, because we need money to survive, I am also giving of my knowledge to you. And I feel like that is also compensation. Like I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to do videos. I'm going to have you be at sessions. I'm going to be as open to my system and policies as I can be. And that's also like monetary value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I did an episode with my former, because I did a year-long midwife
Midwifery.
midwifery apprenticeship. That is a hard sentence to say. I did a year-long midwifery apprenticeship with my preceptor. Her name's Casey, and her business is Moontree Midwifery. Shout out, everybody go follow her. She's the best in the world. But I also did an episode called the Emo Free Range Midwife with her, and she has the same mindset set as I do, and she kind of like led me through like the basics of like establishing the values that I have around this, because I was her apprentice and she would pay me for the work that I would do. And like every other midwife in the area, or they'll like, this is the most absurd thing, that people will charge to, some people will take it as far as to charge, doulas will charge like other people to shadow them, like you have to pay that. And I'm like, no, that person is like, what?
Yeah, they're just
doesn't make any
standing
sense,
there
'cause
observing, but yeah, they have to pay.
yeah, you're literally what a doula is it's like a friend with a lot of knowledge about birth. Like you're charging someone to watch you be a friend. Like I get it, like you're instilling knowledge in them and stuff, but like you should not be charging for it in that way whenever they're doing work for it,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I guess to me it's one thing, like if you're taking a college class and you're getting textbooks and you're being educated in that type of setting, like obviously we pay for education.
Mm-hmm.
And we pay for, like, still I do continual like classes. I pay for the education. But if I'm signing up and I'm going to also be giving of services, like
Mm-hmm.
I could understand maybe then just not being paid to a certain extent, which I still don't even like that, but they shouldn't then have to pay you because they're also giving service. Like you're not getting nothing for free here if you have.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense to anyone listening.
Yeah, I don't know. We've gone down a rabbit trail, but
yeah, we did. I wasn't planning it.
Yes, I get very heated about this. This is why we are on the same page, man. Like I am always the kind of person that I'm like, please let me at least give you money, even if you're doing this thing for free. Like I really try to do that because I'm like, I understand that it took you a long time to get where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see more like trade and stuff come back, you know, when you have friends that
100%.
Like, let's get rid of capitalism and everything, but also let's not take advantage of people. I guess.
If somebody wants to, I'm just putting it out in the universe. If somebody wants to like trade me half a cow for like doula services at their birth, I will 100% do that deal.
Instead of like cows being given at marriage, give me half a cow for helping you during your childbirth.
Yes, I'm so for it.
I'm
like grass-fed beef is hard to find.
It so is. It so is. So what did you do today?
I went to work. I had an event this weekend, and so like my event was on Saturday, and then I had Sunday off, and so today is Monday. Oh, so spoiler alert to the podcast fans, I don't actually record this on Saturdays. Anyway, so today is Monday after a weekend event, and so Monday after weekend event is kind of just like clean up the explosion in the supply closet kind of a day. So that's what I did. I did follow up social media posts. I like cleaned up some of the things that I needed to put things away, things like that at work. And then I was like, I got all the tasks done that I needed to today. So I was like, I asked my boss, I was like, hey, I have like a ton of, so when you go overtime where I work, you can either choose to get paid time and a half, or you can choose to get what's called comp time, which is like time that you can use later.
Oh,
so
nice.
I was like, can I just like use some of the comp time, because there is a limit to how much comp time you can get, and I'm like close to the top of that limit because I'm a workaholic.
I don't know anything about that.
Right. So I was like, hey, can I just use some of my comp time? He's like, yes, please go. That's like the best part of my boss. He's always like, if you have time to go and you've got all your stuff done, please go. That's one thing that I love about the place that I work. So I got off a little bit early, and we had, do you know about Amazon return stores? Do you have anything like that near you?
And we used to. Now you have to take it to UPS. Like used to be in Kohl's and stuff, but yeah, no.
Oh, no. Amazon return stores is where those things that you return to Amazon go. Like
What?
somebody, yeah. So somebody like there's a business model.
What?
You can buy like a pallet of unknown items from Amazon for a certain amount of money, and then people sell it in stores. So there's a store in my area. It's called Discount Bins, and we went there on Saturday. And so what they do is it's just troughs that are full of so many random Amazon returns. And each day of the week is a different price. So the first day they have it out, it's $15. The second day they have it out is $10. And then it goes all the way down to $1, and then they refill the troughs.
Whoa.
It's wonderful, but also I am a bit of a hoarder, so it's kind of a problem. But we had gone to the Discount Bin store on Saturday, and we got a bunch of glassware. They had so much glassware there, and it was $10 day. So we got like a set of 4. They're like the nesting ball jars. Do you know what those are?
Uh-uh.
So like ball jars, they're like mason jars, same thing.
Yeah.
But they have like nesting ones so that you can like put them in each other and they stack.
Mm.
So they're like smaller on the bottom than they are at the top. So we got wide mouth nesting jars, a set of 4 that came with straws and wooden tops and plastic tops for them, and they're like little drink cups. And then we got another set of glasses because our glasses before were from the dollar store, and they all don't match and stuff like that. So we actually finally have matching glasses.
That's always a nice feeling. Like adulthood is reached.
Yes. That and like I care about what kind of vacuum I have. Those 2 things make me a grown up. No other things make me a grown up.
No other things. I think once you reach I think my mom at one point had like 10 vacuums. Like that's true
Wow.
adulthood.
Yeah, that is true adulthood.
I don't understand. She just like wouldn't throw them away. I'm like, if it doesn't work, throw it out.
Why do we have this? Yes. No, I'm guilty of keeping things that don't work in the hopes of one day I'll fix it.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
See, what's funny is like I'm the opposite of a hoarder in a lot of ways. Like I will say I have a little bit of a shopping addiction. I'm very addicted to furniture. Couches in particular are my kryptonite.
Well, I'm always seeing you like post marketplace stuff, and it's like the coolest stuff ever. And I'm like,
all
man.
very vintage finds. Yeah. But see, like I always get rid of stuff when I buy something new. So like I don't hold on to like emotional attachments to things. I'm like, see ya. Bye, Felicia. You were great for a month that I had you, but now I found this new trinket and it's mine.
We need to be more like that because we have way too much stuff.
Yeah, my husband is not like that. I'm like, I don't think you need to hold on to this empty box. It's literally an empty box.
Yes, but I understand. The shoe boxes are really nice, man.
Yeah, he's like, but it's a good box. What does that mean?
It's good. I know what it means. I'm kind of a hoarder of cameras. Do you hoard cameras?
Ooh, I've had like as far as my professional cameras go, like a lot of times when I have to upgrade, it means that I have to sell the previous equipment. So I've never been able to hoard professional cameras, but I do have a little bit of a vintage.
Please tell me. I love this.
So yeah, I have like 4 that I've just found on Facebook Marketplace. I have no clue if they work. I've never tested them out. I should probably test them out. But they just sit and decorate, and I'll like use them in TikToks every once in a while. So it's like, see, I got a camera. I'm a photographer.
Do you know how to develop film?
I do, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I've always wanted to learn how to do that.
So my grandparents were photographers. So like when I would have to go out to California to visit my bio mom growing up in the summers, I spent time at their studio developing film and stuff.
That's so cool. You are so much cooler than I am. I'm a poser in that way. I send them off in the mail to get developed, but I really love film cameras and how like nostalgic they make things feel.
Oh yeah.
And so I have a couple of those, and I also really like Polaroids. Like I have a couple of different Polaroid cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got this. I was influenced by an Instagram reel. I will admit it. I got this new camera. It's called a Camp Snap camera. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't. What is this?
So a Camp Snap camera, it's like designed for kids going to summer camp. You know how like when we were younger and we would go to summer camp and our parents would buy us disposable cameras?
Oh yes.
Well,
yes, I do.
it's kind of the 2023 version of that, but it's like it's a screenless camera that kids can take to camp and like learn the value of like waiting to see what it looks like. That's the idea of it, but it has the same lens as a disposable camera. So all it's a digital camera. It goes onto you have to like plug it into the computer and download the pictures, but it has the same lens as a disposable camera, so all the pictures look like disposable camera, but it is a digital camera and you could just put it on your computer and download it. And I'm obsessed with it.
That sounds really fun. I think I need to get that for my kids because we've gotten them like the cheap little digital cameras that you can like see on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
My son especially was very obsessed with it. But they also were making quote unquote YouTubes. They are not on YouTube for the record. But they'd like just turn it to them and they're like, okay, so today we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this. And I'm
welcome
like,
to my channel.
Welcome to my channel. Yeah.
I feel like that all the time. I mean, I have like a real podcast. Like I'm like, welcome to my show.
Yeah. Well, my daughter now like legitimately wants to start a podcast. And I told her that we would, but then I had to call my husband and clarify. And I was like, just so you know, before Piper comes running to you and like, Mom said we can be on a podcast. It's not going on YouTube. I'll maybe post it on my Facebook.
Oh, that's cute. What is their podcast going to be about?
I heard at one point it was going to be about wolves.
Oh, okay.
At another point it was going to be about books.
Okay. Could it be about books about wolves? Is this a Twilight podcast?
Books about wolves. Yeah, Twilight. She has read that. She's 9 for the record. So that's like her mentality of things.
That's awesome. You know, okay, so I have this thing where I'm like scrolling through my like social media feed and I'll look at like some people's kids and I feel like some people's kids take like 5 years to turn 3. And then other people's kids they take 6 months to turn 5. I feel like your kids are the ones that take 6 months to turn 5.
Yeah, they seem to have like grown out of nowhere. I will say my 5-month-old seems to me feels the opposite. Like I need you to be mobile. I don't know if it's because it's like now my 5th child and I'm just like become the tired mom. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, kid, I'm exhausted. Can you walk yet?
Wow. Usually moms are like tired moms. They usually say like, oh, I like it now because I could just like carry them around. They aren't getting into things.
I mean, I do enjoy that because I do have a completely feral child. But she just yells at me and wants to be held a lot. Like you can tell that she at this point wants to be mobile herself. Mm-hmm. Like she's getting frustrated that she just lays there and does nothing. There's just something you can tell like in the way she's trying to talk to you. But yeah, so I'm also wishing for her to stop yelling at me.
Just go do it by yourself.
All I want is to not be yelled at by a 5-month-old.
That's adorable.
So yeah, it's fun in my world.
So are there any cute things that your kids did this week? Are there any horrible things that your kids did this week?
Probably. I can't even like at this point, it's so much.
Like, yeah, right.
Like, did this happen today? Other day? I think Freya so we have feral Freya. She turns 3 in like 2 weeks. Um, this child is just on one. So like, you know the saying that if it's like quiet, your kids are into something?
Mm-hmm.
That really isn't applicable to her because unfortunately, like she's just a quiet kid.
Mm-hmm.
But she is feral. So sometimes she's just quietly sitting there being this like sweet little angel, and then like the next thing you know, she's pulled out everything from the trash can.
Oh no.
She's gotten and somehow unlocked the pantry because I have to lock the food up or it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
She at one point I let her hang out in my boudoir studio that I had because I was like, oh, there's nothing she can get into. She'll like be fine. And I go to check on her, and she was only in there for like 10 minutes. I swear, I was sitting at my desk. It's like across the hall, like right next to me. Somehow she'd gotten paint. Like I don't even know how. And
She
white
materialized it.
materialized out of nowhere. White cream paint all over
Oh
my
no.
vintage leather Victorian couch.
Oh no. That's horrible. How did you get it out?
It did come out fairly nicely, but I mean, it's an old couch. Beautiful for pictures, but it's old. So like it's speckled in the leather, and so it's just it's just a little bit more white in the speckling than than it was
Oh
before.
man. That's crazy.
But yeah.
How do you balance having 5 kids and a business and a podcast?
I don't. Well, like someone asked me the other day on Facebook, they're like, "Is there anything you can't do?" And I was like, "Relax." Like I don't know what you're looking for me to say. Like I homeschool. My kids are with me 24/7. We found that
Mhm.
that was just easier because here our schools were like, "Here's your schedule today. Now here's your schedule today." And here's like it was constantly changing.
Mhm.
And and that I couldn't do. I'm like, I am running a business. I'm trying to get stuff done. I have kids who are in separate school districts because my oldest is my bonus son. Like,
Mhm.
I can't have this everyday change of schedule.
Mhm.
So our 4 kids that live with us 100% of the time, they're homeschooled. And we wake up, we do our chores, they do school for like 2 hours cuz they're still in elementary. Um, and then we go to work, and
Mhm.
they just pack a backpack full of toys.
Nice.
Like
So your photography business, it is like you have a studio too, and then you have other people in your studio, right?
yeah, so I have 1 associate, so there's 2 of us on the team right now. I'm probably am going to be looking for, I don't know quite associate or apprentice is gonna be the right word, but an assistant. I
Mhm.
need some help.
So what is your space like? Do you have like multiple studios or office?
So it's my 3rd studio. My very first studio was like just this small little office that I paid like $300 a month for. There were businesses beside me. It was great in theory, but it was awful where I have the kids with me 24/7 because I felt like it was too loud where people were trying to run their businesses.
Mhm.
So I didn't stay in that very long. And then I was in a space in Rexburg, Idaho for a little over a year, and we had 6 rooms in it, but they were tiny rooms. Like this place was was originally a tax like office.
Mhm.
So it really was like a normal office, small
Cubicle.
little room. Yeah. Um it was I could take pictures. It was really nice. I had different themes. I really enjoyed the space, but when we moved to the town over, I was just like my lease is up. It's time for me to look for another space. So I'm in my 3rd space in 3 years. Don't judge
Mhm.
me.
No, it makes sense.
But I have grown a lot in the 3 years. So yeah, it definitely makes sense. But now this space is like pretty much one large room. There is a larger office room to it, but we've turned that into like a dressing room because we
Oh,
have over
nice.
50 like fantasy gowns and like
Yeah.
wings and crowns and stuff. So We have a whole room just dedicated to dresses and shit.
So, let me tell you about Mia's photography. Just to paint you a picture, it's like those videos that you see on TikTok where the kid is like being held and they're like holding a magic wand in a picture or something, and then like smiling, or like holding an umbrella, and then like gets photoshopped that the kid is like flying with an umbrella or something like that. It like she makes like it's not just photography. It's like, well, she does do photography, but it's not just photography. It's like photography with like fantasy art, essentially, like weaved into the actual work, and it's so cool.
Yeah, we are definitely primarily at this point like a fantasy photographer. So I have cosplayers who've hired me on retainer. Every other month I do what I call like different event shoots. So I just did mermaids. We did a 2-mile awful hike to Goldbug Hot Springs. If you know what that is, look it up. It's a pretty cool place. But we did mermaid pictures in the hot spring. We just did Lord of the Rings. I have coming up, I have Ice Queen, which
cool.
being in Idaho, where it will be cold.
Yes.
It will be very cold.
Or like if you could go down to, I don't know how far away you live from Heber, but if you could go down to those Heber ice castles, that would be really cool too.
So we do have an ice palace. They actually got into a little bit of a lawsuit with the Midway, Utah places. But we have not ice castles, but ice palaces in Rigby, Idaho. And 2 years ago, I rented out the entire place.
Castle.
Yeah. Palace. I don't want to be lumped into their lawsuit.
Sorry.
But yeah, I did. I took pictures in their ice palace, the Labella Lake ice palaces. It was super cool. I still actually love to post those pictures. Like normally photographers, like 2 years worth of work, like your style and everything has changed drastically, but I'm still proud of those images.
That's so cool.
So
yeah, your work is definitely really cool. So you're doing mostly fantasy stuff now? And
mostly, yeah.
How is that in Idaho? I would feel like in Idaho there's like a lot of farmers and other, like do you have a large like client base?
I do. And what's crazy is I actually have people like I ended up creating like a membership program because they wanted, like they did a photo shoot and they wanted so many more photo shoots. So I was like, okay, how do I like give back in some kind of way? Like my photography is not cheap. So I created like membership programs, and so they get to join like every event shoot. So that's 6 photo shoots a year.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then I do the retreat that I have, which is 3 days in the summer. Last year we did Alice in Wonderland. So Alice's theme is on healing your inner child. Like Alice in Wonderland, that's what the hidden message is all about, is your inner child. And so we did that, and it was, we're going to come and spend this weekend. Yeah, we're taking pictures, but we're healing our inner child. So
that's so cool.
So we did a Queen of Hearts and a Mad Hatter, and we did just like a pretty tea party. I'm actually still working on the Alice pictures. Like there's 20,000 images taken.
Holy cow. I hope you have a lot of SD cards.
Yeah, I have a lot. So upcoming this summer, we're actually doing Embracing the Goddess Within. Which I'm super stoked about. So we're going to do like Athena and Aphrodite and Medusa. I think it's going to get a little bit emotional, especially with doing a Medusa photo shoot, but it's going to be good.
That's going to be so good. If I ever have a Saturday night sleepover in real life, you're coming to do the pictures, okay?
Okay, perfect. Deal.
Because that's one of the things that I want to like put out in the universe that I want to work on at some point. I want to put together like a Saturday night sleepover in real life for the listeners of the show that want to come and like hang out in real life and like share stories and do all the things that we do.
I've become a firm believer of like don't have all your ducks in a row and just do it. Like it could not work out the greatest that first time, but you learn from it until you make the second time better. Like if
Mm-hmm.
it's like I just jump.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what this whole podcast has been so far, is just like, let's just see where it goes. And it keeps going in really good directions, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, yes, I want to do it. I just don't have the time to plan it right now.
Yeah. I understand that for dang sure.
Yes. Well, because you have 5 kids that you homeschool and you run a business, well, more than one business, and you just started a podcast.
Yeah. Lots of coffee.
Yes. Amen. Do you like, what is sort of topics are you going to be talking about on your podcast upcoming? Do you have like a plan, or do you just like does it happen as it comes, or what do you think
For
about
the
that?
most part, I'm winging it.
Yeah.
But I do have this week, and I need to like send her over like what we're going to talk about. I have an associate photographer who works for another team. We're not the same photography group. She's going to come on and talk about what she's liked when she did freelance herself, like had her own photography business versus being an associate photographer and all of that. I just think it's something that maybe we don't see enough of. And there actually is a ton of value in having a team when you're creative. So it's really all focused around us as creatives and just trying to wrap our head around real life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we think differently.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't like, I would consider myself a creative kind of a person, but I don't necessarily consider myself like an artist. I would say more like a craft. Like I work on like different crafts and like perfect different crafts, rather than like it's, I don't know, artist just seems so, or creative seems so like lofty.
Official.
Yeah.
Yeah, like official. I see that. I see that. No, I think there's so many like just right-brained minded people out there that yeah, they maybe are not working as artists professionally, but they've still had to navigate life in a world that isn't catered to right-minded people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, same thing as like the feminine and masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like capitalism is like 100% masculine all the time. So much so that I feel like a lot of people have lost touch with like some of the more feminine energy things, like sharing and like being open and like allowing space for peoples of all types and things like that. It's very like, I feel like society today is a lot more closed-minded, or it's going in a little more closed-minded way than maybe some of our ancestors have. I guess it depends on where you live and like what you subscribe to in your culture and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's what I see from my vantage point.
We definitely live in a more patriarchal society. Like I can definitely see that. I do see that at least our generation, we don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I think we've been making steps to change it in a lot
Mm-hmm.
of ways. And I do appreciate that. I am really, really proud of our generation saying this might be the norm, but it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's awesome. And well, like I would say millennials are a pretty cool generation, because we are the like last generation to be able to be wild in our youth and not have it all over the internet.
Woohoo! Thank goodness for that.
Yes. I would have been in so much trouble had I not. had I had my life on the internet and had my parents known about it.
For reals. For reals. We both grew up with really strict parents, though.
Yes.
So
I remember like when I picture like your dad, the thing I picture is like extremely rigid military parent.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing's changed.
How is living in Idaho? Because we both grew up in Virginia with a very different culture. And whenever I lived in Utah, which is similar culture to Idaho, but I would
Yeah,
say even more mild, like Idaho, I would say is more extreme than Utah.
it
Like
is.
I had so much culture shock.
Um, so I've been here for 12 years now.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I still don't love it.
I understand.
Um I don't know, it definitely like I feel there's just an extreme group of people in Idaho. Um it's there's a lot of toxicity, like a lot of toxicity.
Hmm.
Um Stepford wives to like amp it up. Uh it just it's a hard environment to live in. I think it makes it even harder that it's snows like
Yes.
9 months out of the
Yes.
year. My sister came to visit me in June and it snowed. Like I'm not
Hmm. That's not an exaggeration, man. I know.
like it's definitely hard. I will say like there is good here. I don't feel like in Virginia, um, in a lot of the neighborhoods that we lived in, that I could just send my kids out to go play and not check on them every 5 minutes,
Hmm. Yeah.
especially at their age. Like, I don't even think my 6-year-old I would send outside without me, like, sitting out there. I do feel more comfortable here in Idaho doing that.
Hmm.
So, it does have its good things, but I definitely look forward to the day that we can move. Just because I'm someone like for listeners, I have super long dreads. I have a freaking face tattoo. I have like I'm covered in
Yeah.
tattoos.
Like, how is it being a tattooed person in the extremist Idaho area? Like, we're
Um,
talking Lori Vallow is like, and like
this
Chad
is the
Daybell.
same city as me. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the same
If you
city
don't
as
know who
me.
that is, look it up. It's a very intriguing story. But
Yeah,
how is
yeah.
that?
That's my neighbors. Yeah, I definitely get some bad looks. I did have a family member, when Piper, who was young, a family member that is from the area, decide to tell my daughter that Jesus doesn't like people who have tattoos or drink coffee.
Oof.
Like,
Yikes.
um, so yeah, it's not the most forgiving and easiest of places to live.
Yeah. Well,
And
if
the
you're looking for a place to move, you should dream about Northwest Arkansas because it's pretty great.
yeah, I know it's still cold there.
No, no, it's not. Northwest Arkansas, it's like a southern state.
Oh,
Um
okay, so it's warmer?
it's warmer. It's warmer. Let me give you the pitch. Okay?
Okay.
So, when I looked it up, it was like the cold temp like the months, you can look it up on Google, and the months it's like the low temperature of this month is this and that and this and that. Well, there was like December, January, February, it's like the low temperature is like 35. And then
Mm.
all the other winter months it's like 40.
Yeah, it's
And
already in the, like, 20s and teens here.
yeah, yes. And the best part about Arkansas is you never know what the weather is going to be. So, like, it could be like 20 degrees for a week and give you a taste of winter. And then the next week, it could be 75.
You're like,
Like,
"Perfect."
so you get breaks from being cold all the time. That's I am 100% the weather. I'm like, this is the best place ever because you still get 4 seasons, but it's so unpredictable that like you get breaks from being cold. And because I've lived in Hawaii before, so like
Oh,
I
yeah.
know what it's like to like never have cold, and you do miss it at some points. But I don't miss it for very long.
Yeah, I'm just not built for the cold, I've decided. Like
Yes.
and I keep dreaming of like South Carolina or Alabama. Like
Well,
I don't know.
South Carolina, Alabama, both good options, but Northwest Arkansas, I love it because more pitches. So it's like a perfect baby because your husband's from Idaho, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my husband's from Utah, and Utah and Idaho have similar climates. Um, we're both from Virginia. So I'm from Virginia, but my husband is from Utah. Your husband's from Idaho. Arkansas is like a perfect baby of those two climates.
I don't know, maybe we'll start looking into it
It's
because
humid, but it's not too humid.
I keep telling him, I'm like, you've got maybe 5 more years before I'm like gone, and hopefully you come with. Like, I've put in my time, okay? 12
I
years is a
completely
lot.
100% understand. That's the way I was like when I lived in Utah. I was like every day I was like, dude, I don't thrive in this. I don't thrive in this environment. I'm telling you, just give me a taste of something else. I will thrive in that environment. And I am thriving right now, and it's wonderful.
I'm glad to hear it. That yeah, no,
The seasonal aspect of living in like a mountainous range where it snows so many months out of the year is a real hazard.
yeah, it 100% takes a mental toll on you. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard. Well, and then the kids, like they want to play. But
Mm-hmm.
I have like one child who absolutely hates the cold like me. So even he could be as bundled up as possible and he's like, not happening, mom.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a money making business in Idaho. You could open up an indoor playground.
Which I'm like shocked they don't have it. We don't have an indoor like water park. Like I think there is a city like aquatic center, but
Mm-hmm.
the one time we went there, it was like cold. I'm like, it's cold outside and it's cold in this pool. Like I'm not.
I don't want to go here anymore.
I don't want to go here. So it just, I feel like they are missing out on a lot of opportunities. And I just don't have the mental capacity to start another business.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying you should start it. I'm saying someone should start it, and they'd probably
Someone
make
should start
a
it.
lot of money.
I know the Rexburg, Idaho, they like spent ton of money. Like it actually ends up cost like it's in the negative yearly for residents in Rexburg because they built an outdoor water park. Well, it's
Mm-hmm.
only good for like 2 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And even then, like when it's summertime and we have quote unquote summer weather, it's windy here. Like it's
Yeah.
really windy. So yeah, I think the city needs to do a better job.
I understand.
But it's
Anyway,
fun.
well, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up or talk about?
No, I was just happy to talk with you. It's been a hot minute.
I
Like a
know.
like years hot minute.
Years, hot minute. Like I stalk you. I'm a lurker on all your pages, but um, I'm so glad that you came on today. I had so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for offering it. I
Of
feel
course.
like now I have some podcasting experience. So.
Yeah, and it's always so much like podcasts. We gotta help each other out.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much.
Yes. Where do you want people to find you at?
So they can find me all of my like social handles. It's Design DNA Creatives. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. I have like the least amount of followers on Instagram, Facebook. But yeah, and then my new podcast is on Spotify. It's called Design Minded. There's
Yeah,
only one episode, but
it's great. I already listened to it. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on today. And everybody go follow Mia. She's wonderful. And you're welcome back on my podcast anytime. I've loved our conversation.
Aw, thank you.
Um, everybody like, share, follow. You can go to sleepoverpod.com and you can send embarrassing stories. You can send us feedback. You can request for merch. You can do all those things on sleepoverpod.com, and then like, share, follow, do all the things. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.